Today, today I will be reading and talking about The Paper Kingdom, and it is written by Helena Cu-Ray. Mama and Papa were night janitors. While they got ready for work, Daniel got ready for sleep. Tonight he was so very tired, he snuggled into his bed in a corner of the apartment. Suddenly, ring! Mama answered the phone. Oh, I see. That's okay. She walked over to Daniel. You have to come with us, little bug. Too sleepy, Mama. I'll wait for Auntie Clara. That was Clara. She can't come tonight. Can I stay upstairs with Dwayne's family? No, we've asked them for too many favors, Papa said. Then I'll stay here by myself. I'll be good. Papa shook his head and helped Daniel change out of his pajamas. Their old car sputtered as they drove to Mama and Papa's work downtown. The big glass building always looked angry. It seemed to say, "Stay out." Can't I just sleep in the car? Daniel asked. But Mama and Papa said no. They hurried Daniel inside and waved at Sam, the security guard. "Hello, Daniel," said Sam. "Wow, you've grown. Soon you'll be tall as me." Daniel doubted he'll grow to be a giant like Sam. "I won't tell anyone he's here." Sam winked at Mama and Papa. "Thank you, Sam," Papa said as they got into the elevator. Daniel was so tired he felt like crying. "Can we leave?" Mama and Papa didn't answer. From a big closet they got brooms, mops, sprays, vacuums, and buckets. So many tools. Daniel sneezed. "Why is that stuff so dirty?" "Because they keep the kingdom clean," said Mama. Daniel was confused. What kingdom? "The Paper Kingdom," Papa said. "Didn't we tell you before? This is the land of the Paper Kingdom." "The Paper Kingdom?" Now Daniel felt awake. "How come I never saw him? Where is he?" "Let's go see," Mama said. "Maybe he's in his throne room." They went to a large room with a desk as long as a banquet table in a castle. The tall chair stood behind the desk. "Looks like the kingdom's gone to bed," said Papa. "Let's clean up for him." Mama picked up paper from the floor. Papa emptied the wastebasket. "Why so much paper?" Daniel asked. "It's the Paper Kingdom, remember?" said Papa. "The king checks all the paper, and if anything has a mistake, out it goes." Papa vacuumed. Sometimes he stopped to wipe his forehead. "But why do you have to clean the Paper Kingdom?" Daniel asked. Mama dusted. She sneezed as she worked. "Shh," Mama said, looking around. "Don't upset the queen." Papa led Daniel into a hallway. "She's usually over there, and she's the busiest of us all. She sends paper to everyone in the kingdom." Mama dusted the queen's shelves. Daniel took a canister from Mama's cart into the water, the queen's plant. "Let's check out the bathroom," Papa said. "I don't have to go yet," said Daniel. "I know," said Papa, "but let's make sure dragons aren't hiding in there." "Dragons?" Daniel scooted behind Papa. "Oh, don't worry. They work for the king," Papa said. "They're small and friendly, but sometimes they hide because they're afraid." "Of what?" Daniel asked. "The king," said Papa, and maybe the queen." When they go to the bathroom, Daniel was glad no dragons were there. Papa cleaned each stall. Maybe they're in the kitchen, Papa said. Dragons love to eat. The kitchen was dark and quiet. Smart dragons, said Mama. Guess they won't get caught today. Papa turned on the light and the kitchen was a disaster. Mama wiped spills and picked up trash. Papa swept the floor and straightened tables and chairs. Sometimes Papa rubbed his neck and Mama sneezed. Why are dragons so messy? Asked Daniel. They should pick up their own trash. Mama said, maybe they ate in a rush and forgot to clean up. They don't mean to be so naughty. But why do you have to clean it all? It made Daniel hurt inside to see Mama and Papa clean such a huge mess all by themselves. Not fair. I'm going to yell at the dragons. He angrily threw a banana peel into the trash. No, little bug. Only the king can yell at the dragons, Mama said. You know what that means. Daniel shrugged. Someday you'll have to be the king, Papa smiled. Then you could sit in the throne room and tell the dragons to be nice and neat. Daniel liked the sound of that. Can I see the throne room again? Daniel sat in the tall chair. He closed his eyes and imagined a kingdom with small dragons who picked up their litter, and the castle papers were piled high in the throne room, and the chair seemed to reach the sky. Remember, little bug, Mama whispered. Remember to be nice when you become king. Dragons work hard too. She hummed as she wiped the windows. Daniel didn't realize they were home until he felt Mama tuck him in. He snuggled into his bed in a corner of the apartment. He thought about the Paper Kingdom. He decided if he became king someday, he wouldn't yell at the little dragons, but he'd make sure they clean up their mess. That way Mama and Papa wouldn't have to. Now I'm also going to read the author's note because I think that it's kind of funny considering the whole book, but it makes a lot more sense once I read it. My parents worked at night as janitors in a corporate building when I was little. On nights they couldn't find a relative or a friend to watch me, they took me to watch them work. I have vague memories of dozing off in office chairs while my parents mopped, swept, and vacuumed, and had to keep my grumpiness at bay. They told funny stories about the people who worked in the offices during the day, and my parents used their humor and imagination to make up an unpleasant situation seem full of possibility and magic. I wrote Paper Kingdoms for them and all the other hardworking families. Now, I think this book is filled with a lot of different plays, especially since it is the author's own personal story, as well as, the parents are seen with this unfortunate situation where they have to take their kid to work, even though they're not supposed to, but they have to. And while they're at work, they're still working, still sneezing and cleaning stuff, but they tend to make the place a home away from home. They fill it with stories about dragons, about this kingdom, and pushing David to just, try not to be as grumpy, but also enjoy the time that they're there, even if they're hardworking and they don't really want to be there. And this whole time, David is just like, dragons, and I want to be the king, and just really seeing this place as home. And another thing is I think the color is very apparent in this story, especially with this picture with the dragons. And we have the dragons that are bright red, and we can see their shadows down here. And it's kind of written or drawn in a different style than the rest of the book. And the stalls are kind of dull, and this whole place isn't really filled with much color. We have the color of the cleaning supplies, but everything else is just kind of boring and just office-like. But whenever they think of imaginative things, they tend to put a lot more color in place to make it more fun. I think that's pretty cool. As well as a lot of the shots, and we talked about angle and perspective, a lot of the shots tend to pretty much reflect what's going on. We have the long shot that shows unfamiliarity. And we see in this specific picture, we have the long shot where it's looking at everybody. But we look really closely at David. And he looks pretty upset because he's unfamiliar with this whole place. Well, we got Mama and Papa working as hard as they can. And then another long shot is at this one, where it seems all dark and gloom along with the colors. But the long shot is looking at David, where he doesn't really like this place. It looks very scary and not so fun. And then another shot we have that shows more concerning and intimacy is where David, if I can find it, where David's talking about his parents having to clean everything, and it kind of hurts him inside, and it shows the emotion of him just being like, no, like, that's not fair, and you shouldn't have to do that. And then even we just have a lot of those close-up shots where David is just like, no, like, that's not okay. It shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't have to. And even in this one, it's another, like, off-centered shot, which can show power and stuff like that. And it's showing that David one day will become the king and rule over all the dragons. Dragons are obviously a metaphor and just a story, but the parents really, really do make and try to make the best of this situation. Since sometimes this does happen to parents where they do have to take their kids to work. I remember days that I had to go to the office with my mom, and she would make up funny stories about her coworkers and stuff like that. Well, I'd just, like, play in her chair or something. And I did that with my dad, too. He'd put on Ariel, and I'd be watching Ariel in the break room while he's working. But the story is very cute, and